Alright, what's up, people? We got this, the next update of the second video going on right now. I added another piece of 3/4 inch screwed, which is not cut, to the already existing. Let's see. What I've done back here so far, oh, I got bull crap. Can't get this thing focused in. I'm basically outlining the floor with a single layer of 3/4 inch birch, getting as much of the floor covered as I can. Also, you see I've grinded sides and the floor right there. Also up front, I have made a piece that pretty much is 2 3/4 inch that runs all the way across and contours to the everything the best I can. Because I'm going to basically PL that to the side right over there, all the way down, around, up, blah, blah, blah. You get the idea. It's pretty self-explanatory on that. I have, like I say, put expandable foam in the sides. This is also going to help, just making sure everything's not ringy-dingy and all that if, it comes down to it. So it'll help with that. Right now, I have started to cut this front piece. Basically, it goes from there up to the front of that top part of that board. I'm gonna give y'all a little. I stopped the actual my work because I was gonna show you what I'm doing right now. It's kind of self-explanatory, cutting the piece out, but I'm not using the table saw. The only time I use that table saw is if I'm cutting some strips or something small. Now, handling one of these 4x8 sheets, I usually just offset it off the floor like I've shown in my old videos of making boxes. But I want to show you a trick to getting this line straight as you can, which it's pretty damn straight, especially when you're using a straight edge and some template tape. Let's see if I can't. The gap, to figure it out, there's a gap between the cutting blade and the actual guard on that rides against the board. That gap is exactly 1.25 inch and a quarter. So I come in, make a mark on both sides, line it up just like I'm gonna flush trim anything with this straight edge, and I just ride it along there. I mean, pretty simple, right? I mean, that's all you gotta do. Plus, you're down on the floor, you don't have to deal with logging out around a big ass piece of wood, but there you go. Especially if you ain't got a table saw that's got a wide enough cut. But same thing, makes it pretty simple. But I'm gonna leave you right here. I'm gonna do some more work. I just wanted to give everybody a quick update on where I'm going so I don't get too far ahead of myself. Okay, after we have got all these pieces cut and everything, before I go to glue on the sides, top, wherever across the bottom up there, I'm gonna give this one last vacuuming. Make sure all the dust, debris, whatever that might get caught in between the glue just for bonding purposes is out. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And next part you're gonna see is pretty much these pieces peeled back into place, and it's just a simple layer of PL on them and stick it to it. With of course glued everything together, and I started on cutting these pieces for this grid that will be the floor. So pretty much right now I have this 1.25 inches. Might have said prior 1.5 inches, but I thought it through and I'm going to do 1.25 inches, and I'm going to tell you why. 2 3/4 inch pieces of birch, once I fill these squares, will be sitting a 1/4 inch higher than this tubing. But once you put the bolts in, the lag screws, that's your 1/4 inch. So it's best that when you go to put that top layer of birch over top of this, there's a whole bunch of squares making contact with an adhesive, in this case some wood glue, than these little bolt heads sticking up, and that's all it's making contact, if that makes sense. So went ahead and got that, a whole bunch of sticks of this 1.25" 14 gauge square tubing, plenty big. Have drilled 3-inch interval in between 3/8 size holes. That way I can use 3/8 leg screw, or bolt, whatever, you know, I can get to as far as using a bolt or leg screw. Right now I'm just going through and pretty much just, you know, tack welding this together in, you know, the perfect little squares it should be. After this, I'm going to try to pull this out, get it on the ground, start basically welding it up fully. And keep in mind, reminder, start at one corner, kind of don't work your way, because it will, you don't want it to bow or anything. That goes for anything with welding. So, a little tip, whatever. We're going to take this, once it's done, grind everything flat, get some nice welds in there, whatever, and be ready to mount that to this floor. And then go back. I was cutting some test pieces, as you see right here. Just put in between these squares. So we'll go ahead and do that. Anybody got any questions so far, just let me know. You know, jot it down within this time part of the, you know, minute, seconds of this video, and just remind me, and I can try to help you or whatever if I overlook anything. I'm trying to do this in a quickly manner. Definitely ain't working on my Jeep like this, where I can just, you know, take my time or whatever. So do have a deadline on this, and yeah, let's get to it. Also, would like to add, as a side note, using as far when I get to the front part here, which I already am, we got this welder's blanket down. Just a tip for anybody that's going to plan on doing this or whatever. Don't burn your holes in the carpet. Alright, go jumping forward here. I'm cutting currently these little squares to fill the dead space in between the bottom layer and the top that's going on here. As you're obviously seeing, they sit a little higher because they're 1.5" versus the 1.25" square tubing. The reason I did that, because once you put a screw head in here, they level out, as I said. Let's see here. Right now I'm just going through, cutting these out. Got 5 more to go. Other than that, I'm going to put the next piece of wood on top of that layer, just gluing it down. Obviously we got the wood to bond to. Between bolting this down and that, it's going to be pretty solid, so not really worried about that. So as far as the floor goes, I'm probably going to do another little update part right after this, showing you what it's going to look like, all that, and laying the next piece of board down and screwing that down, and end it with that first little segment, because I don't want to make these videos too long. I know the last one was like roughly right over 20 minutes, so we can cut to the chase and yeah, get through it. So yeah, we'll go from there. Okay, so here we are with the 10 million lag screws. But nah, it's coming along good on that. Just time consuming. Got those squares glued in. As you see, that's the cage part for the floors. Pretty much done. Got to come back over top of this, put another board for the actual bottom of the floor of the wall itself, and then yeah, and it pretty much going to start on the sides here, seeing how far up on the corner I can go to get the height. But as far as that goes, right now it's a good point to, you know, give you all the update for the floor and all of this the wall and the Tahoe. So yeah, like I say, just appreciate you watching and everything, and any questions or whatever, try to answer them. So Yeah, it's like I say, it's looking pretty stout. One thing at a time.